One of the peak moments from my childhood was buying a $20 PlayStation card at Food Lion and rushing home to buy Call of Duty Black Ops 3's DLC for Revelations. The grand conclusion to BO3's storyline, the magnum opus of Treyarch Zombies mode, released on September 6th, 2016, and was one of the most highly anticipated things in a Call of Duty game pretty much ever. The months of build-up and hype, as well as the stunning cinematic trailer, had the community on its toes. And when the map finally released, it was met with an insane amount of excitement. And younger me was no exception. I played and played and played Revelations when it was released. And at the time, it was no secret why. Taking all of the fan-favorite maps of the past and combining remnants of each of them into a grand finales for zombies was a genius move by Treyarch. And it's something many people in the community wanted at the time. It was a fantastic map. It was a fantastic map, emphasis on that. Because in 2024, I believe that the concluding map of Black Ops 3 has aged really poorly. Revelations seemed like a fantastic map at the time, however the map has really failed to hold up over time in every aspect of its creation. And in this video, I'm going to talk about why. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to leave a like and maybe even subscribe if you want to see me yap about more game-related topics. And if you don't agree with me, that's fine. Just feel free to leave a comment and tell me how wrong I am. Revelations might be one of the greatest examples of good idea, bad execution in the history of gaming. The entire concept of making a zombies map that combines several fan-favorite maps into one congealed experience is a really neat idea. However, the map misses the mark in overall execution. It isn't done terribly per se, but it definitely is lacking. I think that there are so many missed opportunities within Rev's map design, and in order to understand where those shortcomings arrive, we must first delve into the layout itself. The main concept of the map's layout is that there is a floating island that represents each of the Black Ops games. The left island represents Black Ops 2, with Origins, Buried, and Mob of the Dead being represented. The northern island represents World at War, with its main draw being the Verrucht Asylum. And the island to the right represents Black Ops 1, with Shangri-La, Kino der Toten, and, Der Eisendruck. Yeah, so this is where we immediately see a glaring flaw with Revelations map design. Why is Der Eisendruck in the BO1 area? It's a Black Ops 3 map. I think it's supposed to be because DE is heavily tied to Moon. But if that's the reasoning, then just put Moon there. The MPD room from Moon, with a few adjustments, could have easily fit right where the Undercroft from Der Eisendruck is. And you could have used elements from Call of the Dead or just more Moon to fill in those gaps, which would have then put another Black Ops 1 map in that area, instead of that really random Der Eisendruck-esque room that you see in between the Pyramid Room and Shangri-La. This would have been a much better tribute to the most iconic zombies mode in the series instead of what we got in the final version. Continuing, after you turn the power on in all four of these areas, heading to Nocturne Toten, which serves as the hub world of the map, allows you to ensnare a giant apothecon with the death rays and enter its stomach, inside of which you will find the Pack-a-Punch. I honestly despise this mechanic. This was, once again, another missed opportunity on Treyarch's part. It would have been so much more thematically pleasing if Noct itself was where the Pack-a-Punch machine was kept. Not only would that have made the first ever Zombies map much more important to Revelations, it would have also been a great parallel to BO3's first map, Shadows of Evil. On that map, the Pack-a-Punch machine is also located in the map's hub-world. So having the machine in Nocturne Toten instead of simply making Noct a room you walk through on the way there would have been much more respectful to Nocturne Toten, honestly. And if Treyarch really didn't want to put the Pack-a-Punch machine in Noct, this would have been one of the rare few maps where a moving Pack-a-Punch machine would have been welcome, in my opinion. Maps like Blood of the Dead and Die Rise are notorious for having really annoying moving pack-a-punch machines. However, other maps, like Call of the Dead and DE, have moving pack-a-punch machines that aren't too bad, and I think Revelations would have been one of those maps. The map has so many different locations to visit, and giving the player incentive to visit them all by placing different PAP locations on each island would have been so much more satisfying. I mean, the Kino Theater Room and the Origins Mound are already on the map, so why didn't they just make a moving Pack-a-Punch that moves to the mound in the Kino Theater Room and some other third location that you can put in Verrucht? I think that would have made a lot more sense. The Apothecan's stomach is such an eyesore on this map, in my opinion, and it doesn't really fit at all. This would have been a really good way to remove it, and it would have kept the map's theming a little bit more consistent. Don't worry, this map didn't just miss opportunities within its layout. I'm gonna play a game with you real quick. I want you to name every non-BO3 weapon that returns on Revelations. Go ahead, just take a second to think about it. Name every single non-BO3 weapon that returns on this map. I'm gonna spoil it for you if you haven't figured it out yet. The Tommy gun and the Thunder gun. That's it. This map, which is meant to pay homage to all of the great maps of the past, brings back one iconic SMG and one iconic wonder weapon. Where's the MP40? Where's the Galil? No claymores, no classic buildable traps, no M14 or Olympia in the starting room. Revelations completely missed the mark in these aspects. This map was Treyarch's perfect chance to bring back all of those iconic and beloved items from previous games, and they just completely dropped the ball. I mean, the Banshee and the Rifty 9 were added to this map, but Treyarch couldn't bother adding any of the classic weapons besides the Tommy gun and the Thunder gun. I mean, Treyarch already had versions of the M14 and the Olympia in BO3 that they could have brought back. I don't understand why they didn't add any of those weapons to Revelations. And I understand that Chronicles kind of fixes this problem with some of the weapons, but this video isn't about those maps, so I'm not going to give Treyarch a pass. How cool would it have been if Revelations had completely unique mystery box rotations, full of classic Black Ops weapons? It would have been really neat to possibly have Black Ops 2 guns in the mystery box if you spin it in Origins, but then also have Black Ops 1 weapons in the box if you spin it in Kino. That would have been a really creative idea that we've never seen before, and it would have made Revelations feel so much grander in my opinion, and I wish Treyarch would have actually put some thought into it. Revelations' most glaring issue in my eyes, beyond everything that we've talked about so far, is the utter lack of side content on this map. Revelations has some of the fewest amounts of side content on a zombies map in the entirety of Black Ops 3. I think the only maps with less are Der Eisendrache and the Giant. And the Giant barely counts because it's a simple survival map that isn't supposed to have much side content. Beyond the different helmets, which aren't even that hard to obtain, there are few to no side quests on Revelations. The few side quests that are on this map aren't very exciting or fun to do in my opinion, besides maybe the permanent wall power and crate power. But you don't even really need to do that to play this map, because it's not hard to set up on this map at all, which is also something we're going to get into in a second. The main quest on this map is also horrible. The Easter egg quest is meant to be the grand finale of Black Ops 3, a game that's known for its great Easter eggs. And for this epic conclusion to Black Ops 3, Treyarch created what might possibly be the most bloated fetch quest in gaming history. The entire quest is just monotonously shooting or collecting different objects until you get to the boss fight. And then the boss fight isn't even that good either. And then at the end of it all, you're rewarded with a 60-second long cutscene, and then the game ends. You don't even get to keep playing after you beat this egg, it just ends. That's a huge, huge drop of the ball on Treyarch's part. It would have been really cool if you could keep playing in the Great War like you see in the cutscene. It would have been really cool to have like a Halo Reach style survive mission after the Easter egg, where every player on your team is granted one of the staffs shown in the cutscene, and then your team is left to survive an infinite wave until you eventually die. That would have felt so much more impactful and would have been a lot more rewarding. This map's amount of content just feels like such a letdown to me when we got a masterpiece like Gorod Krovi just a few months prior. I really would have liked to see more from this map's content. One of the most interesting parts of a zombies mode is the fact that the strategy on every map is slightly different. It's so fascinating to me to learn every map's intricately designed strategy to achieve the highest possible round on said map. With that, I'm going to give you guys a tutorial on how to get high rounds on Revelations. Alright, so what you're going to do is you're going to get the Apothecon Servant upgraded, you're going to get the Thunder Gun, you're going to stand right here, and that's it. That's it. You just stand in one spot, press maybe 3 buttons every now and then, and try not to fall asleep. Not to sound like a broken record, but this is the finale of Black Ops 3. And it's arguably the easiest zombies map of all time. And you may be saying, hey, other maps on BO3 like Dreisendrach and Zetsubo have really easy strats, don't they? Yes, other maps on Black Ops 3 do have really easy high round strats, but they just don't fall into that same pit of utter child's play that Rev does. Yes, other maps on BO3 have really easy high round strats, but they don't fall into the same pit of child's play that Rev does. You see, Rev's high round strat would be excusable if the map was hard to set up on. DE and ZNS are easy, but it still takes the player some time to get set up to perform the strats properly. Revelations, you can get set up in like 5 minutes. You can get everything you need on this map in like 5 minutes if you're playing efficiently. And there's also no ammo preservation or any special scenarios that you need to be prepared for in Rev, because the player can have the Maristagua and the Thunder Gun at the same time. Taking that even further, if the player gets Mule Kick, there is nothing stopping them from having the Maristagua, the Thunder Gun, and the Ray Gun at the same exact time, making the player even more unkillable than they would really ever practically need to be. I'm not against being overpowered in zombies. In fact, I love being overpowered in zombies when it's done right. I could honestly do a whole video talking about how Treyarch needs to balance being overpowered and making it not too easy but not too hard, but let me know if you want that in the future, because I'm not too sure. In this case, Treyarch absolutely fumbled the overpoweredness of the map. You can become unkillable in 5 minutes, as I said, if you're playing and you get good box luck. On other maps, having an overpowered weapon doesn't actually make you unbeatable. There's always that risk of running out of ammo or having to reload in a bad spot. This map throws all of that out of the window, and it honestly feels like playing zombies on recruit mode. Alright, I have a few more complaints about this map that I wasn't quite sure how to fit into one of the categories I lined out, so I'm just going to ramble about them here. First of all, this map is so blue. Like, every single screenshot of this map when I was trying to pick one for a thumbnail is just a bright, blaring blue. 70% of the skybox is a 115 blue, and I understand thematically why that's the case, but it's so hard to look at once you've seen it too much. This map is made almost of every past map entirely, and most of them aren't really complemented by the skybox, I'm gonna be honest. And another thing I want to complain about is, why are the bees here? I understand that it's like the Shadow Man's army overtaking the dimension. Ooh, sorry about that whisper. Overtaking the dimension. But the Hellhounds would have been so much more appealing on the concluding map of Black Ops 3. The Hellhounds are a staple of the franchise, and they aren't on the Ultimate Zombies experience of Black Ops 3. I get that this map still has to be its own thing, and so it can't just copy things from other maps, but No one would have had a problem with the Hellhounds being on this map instead of the bees. That pretty much covers everything negative I wanted to say about Revelations. This map was really cool when it launched all those years ago, but in hindsight, it really did miss the mark. I don't entirely hate this map. It probably sounds like I do because I said so many bad things about it, but I really don't entirely hate this map. It's still not a bad map. I call it bad for dramatic effect, but at the end of the day, it's not terrible. It's not the worst map ever. Honestly, I think the fact that we got Chronicles a few months after this is what makes this map so bad, because Chronicles does everything right that this map does wrong in terms of rehashing the old maps. And yeah, I think that's really the end of it, really. But what do you think? Do you like Revelations after all these years? If you do, that's okay. The map, like I said, it's not the worst by any means. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking it and subscribing if you haven't already. It helps me out a lot. And real quick before I go, I want to thank you guys for helping me achieve almost 30 subs on YouTube. As of me writing the script, we're at 28 subs, and I can't thank you guys enough, honestly. That's really all I wanted to say, though. So thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.